Welcome. Today we're opening a particularly dark file, a really disturbing story from the summer of 2007 in Ukraine. It involves three young men who became infamous as the Dnipropetrovsk maniacs. And unfortunately, their story is tied to that horrific video, Three Guys, One Hammer.
That's right.
We're talking about a spree that lasted just 21 days in the city of Dnipropetrovsk. And in that time, 21 people were murdered.
21. It's staggering.
Yeah, mostly with hammers or, similar heavy objects. The sheer speed and brutality. Well, today we need to look beyond the horror, understand the timeline, the failures in the investigation, and what possibly drove these young men.
Absolutely. And it's crucial we handle this carefully. It's a chilling case study in, rapidly escalating sadistic violence. The police initially had no motive, no pattern. Anyone could have been next. We really need to trace how things unfolded, the confusion, the missed chances, and how it led to this extreme brutality, which, disturbingly, they started filming.
Okay, let's start at the beginning then. Dnipropetrovsk, which by all accounts was a pretty normal, peaceful industrial city before this. The terror began on Monday, June 25th, 2007. The first victim was Yekaterina Ilchenko. She was 33, a university professor.
A professor, yeah.
She'd walked a friend home late that night, didn't return. Her mother went looking for her and, found her body on the street. Horrific head injuries, obviously from a heavy weapon. But crucially, the report mentions severe defensive wounds on her arms. She fought back.
Desperately, it sounds like. And then, the very next morning, literally less than 12 hours later, another body. Found only about 100 meters away.
So close.
Roman Tatarovich, 45 years old. He was homeless and apparently killed while sleeping on a park bench. His face. Reports say it was unrecognizable from the repeated blows.
So a professor and a homeless man.
Exactly. No connection whatsoever. Different social circles, found close by, but killed hours apart. This immediately threw the police into, chaos. They figured the attacks had to be opportunistic, random.
Which is terrifying for the city.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it meant there was no clear target profile. Anyone could be vulnerable.
And right around this time, there was a critical incident, wasn't there? A potential breakthrough that just didn't happen.
Yes, on June 29th.
Yeah.
Viktor Prosev, a 58-year-old man. He was attacked from behind with a hammer.
But he survived.
He survived, but purely by chance. A woman in a nearby hair salon saw it happening, ran out screaming, and scared the attackers off.
But he couldn't identify them.
No. Attack from behind happened too fast. So they had a survivor,
right,
a witness to the method, but still no description, no real lead. It was a huge missed opportunity.
And it didn't even slow them down.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It seems like it might have even, emboldened them. Because just a couple of days later, July 1st, two more bodies were found. Yevgeny Grushenko and Nikolai Surchuk.
And the violence was increasing.
Definitely. The reports mentioned their skulls were completely shattered. The brutality was ramping up.
Okay, let's move forward 6 days, July 7th. This day was particularly bad.
A huge escalation.
4 more victims in a single day. That brought the total to 8. People like Igor Volkov, a soldier just discharged, killed practically on his doorstep, and Elena Shram, 28, a single mother working as a security guard. Her body was apparently the most severely mutilated they'd seen up to that point.
You can see the shift, can't you?
Thanks.
It's moving beyond just killing to something else, inflicting maximum damage.
Yeah, and the most significant event that day, July 7th, involved 2 teenagers. Andrei Sidyuk, who was 14, and his friend Vadim Lyakov, 15.
Just kids.
They were cycling, heading off to go fishing. Then they noticed this car, a green sedan, following them. Suddenly, 2 young men jump out and just attack them with hammers.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
Vadim, though, he reacted incredibly quickly, threw himself off his bike, scrambled into the woods nearby, and hid. He could hear the attack on Andrei continuing.
But they couldn't find Vadim.
No. Once they left, Vadim rushed back to Andrei. He was terribly injured, barely alive. Vadim tried to stop the bleeding, got help, but Andrei died later in the hospital.
So now the police have Vadim, a survivor who saw the attackers, saw the car, witnessed the whole thing. This has to be the break they need.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But what happened next is just unbelievable. A catastrophic failure by the investigators.
What did they do?
Instead of treating Vadim like the key witness he obviously was, they decided he must be the killer.
What? His own friend?
Yes. They apparently interrogated him intensely, allegedly used physical force, tried to coerce a confession out of him for Andrei's murder and the others.
The trauma that boy must have gone through, surviving that attack, then being accused.
It's unimaginable. It was only when his parents got lawyers involved and threatened legal action that they finally let him go. A crucial lead, completely mishandled.
And while the police were doing this and trying to keep a lid on the news, worried about panic and tourism.
The public already knew something terrible was happening.
Right. Word spread, people were terrified, and they started calling the killers the Dnipropetrovsk maniacs.
They gave them the name before the police even really acknowledged the scale of it publicly.
Which brings us to the incident that really cemented their notoriety worldwide. July 12th, Sergei Yatsenko, 48 years old, a family man, a grandfather.
And he had a unique vulnerability, didn't he?
Yes. Due to throat cancer, he could only speak in a whisper. He'd taken his motorcycle out that day, apparently just to get some air, relieve stress, and he vanished.
His wife reported him missing immediately. But there was that 72-hour waiting period rule back then for missing persons cases.
So the police delayed. 4 days later, his motorcycle was spotted. They searched the woods nearby, about 100 meters in, and found his body.
Identifiable only by his clothes.
Pretty much. The reports say his face was destroyed, but the really chilling part is how we know the details of his murder.
Because they filmed it.
Yes. The infamous 3 guys, 1 hammer video. It shows Viktor Sayenko filming while Igor Suprunyuck waits by the road. As Sergei rides past, Igor does this weird swing with the hammer, hits him, knocks him off the bike.
A calculated ambush.
They drag him, struggling, into the woods. Viktor keeps filming. Igor just beats him relentlessly over the head and face with the hammer. Then Viktor takes out a knife.
And uses it.
Repeatedly stabs him multiple times, including one particularly gruesome detail, stabbing him through the eye socket, deep into the brain. Then they kicked his body repeatedly, apparently to make absolutely sure he was dead.
And the filming stops there.
No. After the killing, they apparently walked back to their car, washed their hands and faces, and then they went back to the body.
Why?
To take photos, souvenir photos with the corpse.
That tells you everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This wasn't about robbery or some quick thrill. It was about the act itself, the dominance, the documentation, pure sadism.
And looking at the later victims, this level of brutality just seemed to escalate, didn't it?
Absolutely. Later evidence revealed truly extreme acts. Things like removing eyeballs from victims. There was an attack on a pregnant woman where her abdomen was cut open. It really suggests they were experimenting, finding new ways to inflict pain and mutilate, looking for, well, they called it satisfaction.
They'd moved way beyond whatever impulse started this.
Oh, completely. Any initial motive, like robbery, was long gone. This was purely about the psychological reward they got from inflicting terror and death.
So how did it finally end? How were they caught?
Technology, actually. Police managed to trace the GPS signal from one of the victims' stolen cell phones.
Led them where?
To a local pawn shop. The owner remembered 3 young men coming in recently. He identified them: Viktor Sayenko, Igor Suprunyuck, and a third, Alexander Hansa. All 19 years old.
And they found them.
Yes. When the police went to arrest Alexander Hansa, they caught him literally trying to flush jewelry belonging to the victims down the toilet.
Wow. Caught red-handed. Now, the backgrounds of these 3, that's quite a contrast, isn't it?
A stark contrast. Viktor Sayenko and Igor Suprunyuck came from extremely wealthy, influential families. Viktor's father was a senior lawyer. Igor's father was reportedly the personal pilot for the president of Ukraine at the time.
So powerful connections.
Very powerful. And sources suggest this influence had helped them avoid serious consequences for earlier, sort of, minor crimes, theft, some assaults. They probably felt untouchable.
And Alexander Hansa.
Completely different background.
Yeah.
Poor family, lived with his mother in a basic apartment. That difference likely played a big role in the group dynamic.
How did this partnership and violence even start? What was the path?
Well, the friendship between Viktor and Igor seemed to start with typical teenage stuff, like petty vandalism. But they craved more extreme thrills. They apparently shared a fear of heights.
So what did they do?
They decided to conquer it by dangling off the edge of a 15-story building roof. They later said that overcoming that fear gave them this intense feeling of power, of dominance.
A dangerous feeling to chase.
Extremely. That need for dominance then turned outwards. They started bullying younger kids. But the really twisted part, the thing that seemed to desensitize them, involved Alexander.
How so?
Alexander apparently had a strong fear of blood, hemophobia.
Yes.
Viktor and Igor decided they would cure him.
Cure him.
By forcing him to torture and kill animals, dogs, cats, and they filmed it. Documenting his breakdown, his forced desensitization. It's sickening. We also know Igor separately had this morbid fascination with Hitler and collected violent videos and Nazi memorabilia.
So when they were caught, what did they say? What was the motive for killing 21 people?
The stories were confusing. but equally disturbing? Alexander Hansa claimed he only took part in the early robberies. He said they'd use Igor's green car as an illegal taxi, rob the passengers, and he'd sell the stolen stuff. He claimed he stopped participating after Igor actually pulled a gun on someone.
And Viktor and Igor, the main killers,
They confessed to the murders. Viktor's explanation was chillingly simple. They did it for fun and for satisfaction, just for the thrill of it.
and Igor.
Igor offered something even stranger. He claimed he'd read somewhere, maybe an article, that the more people he killed, the better his chances of getting into heaven.
Heaven, that's bizarre.
Completely bizarre. Whether he truly believed it or was just trying to manipulate, who knows? But it shows this blend of, nihilistic pleasure-seeking and maybe some kind of warped pseudo-religious justification in his mind.
But remorse, was there any sign of it?
Absolutely none. That was one of the most striking things during the investigation and trial. Total lack of empathy. There's that infamous quote from Igor, right? When asked how he felt about killing people.
What did he say?
He just asked back, how do you feel about slaughtering a sausage?
God, just cold.
Utterly cold. Detached. It really sums up the psychological state they were in.
So, reviewing the whole case, what's the takeaway?
Well, the state concluded these young men, despite coming from what looked like normal, even privileged backgrounds, were fundamentally driven by this need for excitement, power, dominance over others. And critically, psychiatric evaluations found all three fit to stand trial. They knew what they were doing.
And the sentences.
Alexander Hansa, involved mostly in the robberies and the animal cruelty, got 9 years. He was actually released back in 2019.
Released already?
Yes. But Viktor Sayenko and Igor Suprunyuck, the ones who carried out the murders, they received life sentences, convicted on over 40 counts, including the 21 murders.
And there's one last detail about Igor's plans, isn't there? Something he said he intended to do.
Yes, absolutely chilling. He apparently stated that if they hadn't been caught when they were, his next plan was to kill his own parents.
Kill his parents? Why?
To convert their house into his headquarters for future murders.
Unbelievable. So, the question that lingers, I suppose, especially with Viktor and Igor coming from these affluent, seemingly stable families with powerful fathers, what goes so wrong?
Exactly. What hidden damage, what environmental factors, what internal wiring could allow teenagers from backgrounds like that to become such calculated, remorseless killers? That's the deeply unsettling question this case leaves us with.
It really is. Well, thank you for joining us as we walked through this very difficult narrative. If you find these explorations of true crime and, frankly, the darker side of human nature compelling, please do remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Doc. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you for the next story.